Hi, Tanya. Hi, Charlie.
Hey guys, we just want to say thank you again. Old Hospital was great. This was really one of our first real overnight investigations. We've done some little stuff in the past, but this was definitely by far the best place we've ever been. It definitely kick-started our ghost hunting career that I think is going to continue to go on, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It definitely fueled the interest that we already have, and it was a great way to start.
Absolutely. And some of the video and in the beginning and stuff, you could tell I get a little bit better as the night goes on because I'm not claiming to be any professional or anything. And this whole editing thing was really a lot for me too. I didn't realize how much was involved with the whole editing thing. But you live, you learn, you get better as you go. We've already updated equipment, and
Speaking of equipment, I think we might have start. We watched a lot of videos of Old Hospital before we went, a lot, and just to kind of see what claims other people had, how they investigated, to learn kind of the layout of the hospital, and we had a plan, and then we bought a ton of equipment.
we overwhelmed ourselves. I think we had a little bit too much. We should have pulled the reins back a little bit on it. I think and we should have toned it down. It was a kind of little much, but like I said, you live, you learn, and we'll learn from it, and we'll get better because of it. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But some of the things that wasn't caught on the video that I want to tell you guys about is you guys gave the tour in the basement. We were in the basement, and there was 8 of us down there walking up and down the hallway. And after the tour, we went down there to investigate. Well, there was a cat ball right in the middle of the hallway. Where'd it come from? And I would have had to think that 8 of us walking up and down the hallway. One of us would have kicked it or stepped on it,
Our
or
friend Keith would have definitely kicked the cat ball.
it was funny because that cat ball was down there, and so we put one of ours that actually, the cat ball didn't work. It was obviously left by somebody that investigated before us, and it was almost like the ghosts were just like, here, let's start this thing. We know the drill. Let's get this investigation started. But we put one of our own beside it, and I swear, every time Keith walked up and down that hallway, he kicked that cat ball. I said, "That's proof right there that that cat ball wasn't there before." But that was pretty cool. We don't know how that cat ball got there in the Conley house, which the Conley house was great.
It
By the way,
absolutely was. You guys did a great job restoring that. And thank you for sharing it with us. And we'll definitely be back. But we had an experience.
yeah, we didn't hear the grandfather clock or anything like that go off. But after the game, of course, we went down there, go Big Blue, watch the game, but watched Kentucky lose that night, unfortunately. But
That's real.
yeah, but there was after the game, we were about getting ready to leave, and there was this big long buzzing sound. It lasted a few seconds, and we were just like, "What in the world was that?"
I'm
And
thoroughly convinced it was the servant's buzzer, the maid's buzzer.
the maid's buzzer, and because I. What it kind of sounded like, if we had to describe it, closest thing that we can describe it to is like when a dryer stops, ends its cycle, and you hear that sound. That's what it sounded like.
Very loud, very obnoxious.
Very
And
loud.
we searched the house to find nothing that made that noise.
Right. I thought, well, they got a washer dryer. Is somebody using a dryer? You guys didn't have anything like that in the basement. I checked. And the only thing in the kitchen was like a fridge, a stove, and a microwave. That's really not, because that's kind of where it came from, the dining room, kitchen area. And the only buzzer, the button that I saw was up in the master bedroom, and I went up there and pressed it. And then you guys said it was disconnected, so
If you know the culprit of that buzzing sound, let us know. And if it wasn't something that you all can explain, that was our paranormal experience at the Conley house.
yes. And you also had an experience that wasn't kind of what it kind of is on the video, but go ahead and explain the floor, the second floor of the room is next to Mo's room.
That was on the third floor.
Or the third floor?
The third
Sorry.
floor. And Tanya, when you were given the tour, as soon as I walked in this room, and I was excited, definitely pumped up to be there, but when I walked in that room, I felt like a surge of adrenaline. My heart started beating so fast, like when you take an EpiPen. I mean, it was a crazy experience for me, and I didn't feel unwell. I just felt it, and carrying on through the night, every time I went back, I went out of the room and then I went back into the room just to see. And when I walked out of the room, that feeling would completely stop. And when I went back into the room, that feeling would immediately start back up. And we did several investigations in there just to see, and didn't really have anything. We had some responses, but I couldn't say exactly, if it was intelligent, something trying to communicate, or if it was just.
Right. Right.
But it was a weird experience for me, and I definitely felt something in that room every time throughout the whole investigation.
It was definitely a personal experience for you, for sure. I mean, I think all the floors actually. It seemed like each floor had its own personality. I mean, it was wild. And I want to apologize too for taking so long with this. There was a lot of footage.
Yeah.
We had the camera on each floor. I had my full spectrum camera that I carried around, which at the very beginning I'm pretty bad. I'm not claiming to be no professional. I'll get better, I'm sure. Man, it got better as the night went on. But each floor had its own personality. It seemed like the basement has its own vibe for sure.
The basement was awesome. Like, it was just awesome. And I wish that we could say we got caught more evidence down there. That was probably the least evidence.
Yeah, wildly enough, I thought that would be the floor that we caught the most evidence, but it wasn't.
But we enjoyed our time down there, and
the basement's great though, and the first floor, we both regret not investigating it more.
Yes.
We really didn't do it a whole lot at all. I had a camera set up down there, but we kind of got sidetracked with all the other floors.
It was great. There was so much going on, and we went in the incinerator room too, and that was a great, cool experience. But we didn't catch a whole lot. I don't think there's any of that footage on this, but we appreciated everything that was down there.
Absolutely, and the second floor was just like. It's a variety. It's a jack of all trades. It's a little bit of everything. The third floor is where we got the majority of our EVPs. And just starting out with this thing, that's pretty cool to get those whispers and that talking to the EVPs that we got. I mean, I couldn't be happier with it. And the fourth floor was all about the beeping and the banging.
Yeah.
The knocks they were slams pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I mean. Every floor had its own personality, I think, and that's cool too. There was battery drains, of course. I don't know if you remember when you were given the tour. I went through 2 full batteries.
Yes,
We
did
in
have
just
a
the time we
lot.
did the tour, I was just like, wow. And the rest of the night, I only replaced that battery once.
Yeah.
And during the tour, for some reason, it was crazy. It was crazy. Now. I tried to debunk a lot of the things, and I've learned from watching TV shows and stuff and kind of applied some of my own. But I mean, I like to debunk stuff going into it first and try to explain it away. And then if I can't explain it away, then the chances of it being paranormal are a lot greater, if you can't figure it out. But I always like to try to figure it out first. And there's a lot of trains. You've heard the trains going up and down there. That was an obstacle. It was really, 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 really windy that night.
Yeah.
That was an obstacle when reviewing the footage, trying to decipher through and debunk some stuff. But there was a few things, and I know you got neighbors right next door too, where they pull in and people park there and stuff. And I could determine some of the knocks and stuff like that and the bangs being car doors coming from outside.
Yeah.
So I was really careful about trying to debunk first and then maybe call it paranormal next.
Yeah. There was a lot. He wrote down everything that he heard, and then he went back through and he was able to really debunk a lot of stuff, and it was a lot of work, but it was the finished product. It's pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
the EVPs that we got, the whispers and stuff, they gave us chills listening to them. That was, for us, it was just like, wow, that's what it's about.
And please, when you watch the videos and stuff, please, if you've heard these noises before, and you can say, well, no, that's this or whatever, or you can say, yeah, I've heard that before. That's definitely something there, or any feedback or criticism is welcome, because, like I said, I'm not trying to say I'm professional here. I'm just starting out and learning, and got a lot to go. The editing process, I didn't realize how long that was, how involved that is. Wow, I've been doing that, it seems like forever. But just finding the time to do it, we had a lot of footage and stuff, and finding the time to do it, that's why it's been a little over a month since we've been there. So, and I've been working on it a lot, really. But but we appreciate it. I still haven't got a shirt yet. I
Yeah,
still want a shirt.
we gotta get him. We gotta get him a shirt.
But and we just saw where Project Fear was there last week, and that's awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys. I mean, they picked the old hospital for one of their first locations to come back to.
Yes.
You know, with their new journey on YouTube. So that's awesome. I can't wait to watch that episode.
Yeah.
But I think it's about it, though, man. And we'll get started. I did like little intro videos for each floor. So, and I'm going to eventually try to put the full spectrum video, the camera that I was carrying around the whole night. I'm going to try to eventually put all of that on uh, the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, in case you guys want to check that out too. But other than that,
We'll definitely be back, guys, and thank you again so much.
absolutely.
And if you're thinking about going to Old Hospital, go to Old Hospital.
Yes, absolutely. But anyways, let's get it started. Here's the videos. So the basement. I love the basement at Old Hospital. Man, it definitely has a different vibe down there. I thought we was going to catch a lot more than we did. I mean, it seemed like there was a lot more activity on the other floors. But still, you gotta love the basement. When Tanya and Charlie was giving us the tour and stuff, we were down there walking up and down the hallway. There was 8 of us walking up and down the hallway. And what was weird, this is not on video, but after the tour, we went back down to start our investigation down there. There was a cat ball, just out of nowhere, right in the middle of the hallway. I would have had to think somebody would have kicked it or stepped on it, something. But there was just a cat ball down there just laying right there, just out of the blues. It was like the ghosts were just like, hey, here you go. We know the drill. Let's start this thing. So it was pretty weird. But we had like beeping, maybe medical equipment that beeping, nobody was in the hospital, knocking. We had camera bumps down there. Excuse me. We did a spirit box session down there where Erica, she put headphones on, and all she could hear was the spirit box, and was blindfolded. And I would ask the questions, and if something came through the spirit box, then it could be the spirits answering. Garnett came through it, which I thought was weird at the time, but after the session was over, Keith explained that, hey, my aunt's name was Garnett, that passed away. So I thought that was interesting. And the date and time, pay no attention to that on the stationary camera that was down there. For some reason, when we changed the batteries out, it got messed up. But the basement, I love the basement. The basement's awesome. But here's the videos.
Talk to her. Make a sound. Do something.
Garnet.
Garnet. Is that your name? Yeah. No, man, the guy. Her nickname is Boo.
I very clearly heard a woman's name.
That is her name, Garnet.
That's a very odd name.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a very odd.
Well, when you said it, I was like, what?
So just to piggyback on some of the things that happened in the basement that you just watched, I played the smaller clips. I played them twice in case you missed anything, and you probably want to wear some headphones on some of these clips. You might not be able to hear with external speakers, depending on however you're listening to it. But the fifth clip, if you listen, we were in the X-ray room, and we asked if they wanted us to leave, and a knock came immediately after that. But the spirit box session was done in the amputation room, by the way, and we set up a laser grid in the basement that I forgot to mention, and it was all, we had it pointing down the hallway to see if anything walked in front of it. Well, I had just put fresh batteries in it, fresh Energizer batteries, and within a matter of minutes, the laser grid started getting dim to where it was completely gone. So the camera and the battery drains was definitely a thing down there and on the first floor. And speaking of the first floor is, man, I regret not investigating down there more. I know you guys mentioned that it really hadn't been opened up all the way. We were one of the first teams to go in to really get the full effect of it, and we really didn't spend a whole lot of time down there, man, and I regret it. It was really, really windy that night, and it really showed on the first floor, the audio, because it made it tough. It made it tough to decipher through some stuff because of the wind. But for some reason, I don't know why, and I know I changed the batteries in the first floor camera more often, but we lost footage. The IR light that was on the camera, it didn't seem to last as long, so some of the video footage may be darker than normal. But I know we should have had a lot more, and I don't know if it was operator error. I don't think so, because I mean the cameras are pretty much like the other ones, and I can't explain why we didn't get more footage than what we did. But again, the time and the date on the first floor is messed up, so don't pay any attention to it. But on the rest of the floors, the time and date, so it's okay. So I mean, but it was really windy, so which made it hard. But we had weird beeping and pings and whistles. Had one where one clip shows like you can kind of hear like a carpet footstep beside the camera, which was kind of weird. And of course, you know, the Kentucky game was that night, so we had an opportunity to do the abandonment, where we left the cameras rolling when we left the hospital. Nobody was in the hospital, and then we came back at halftime, changed the batteries out, and nobody was in the hospital again, so kept the cameras rolling. And when we came back at halftime to change the batteries out, when I'm leaving, I say, okay, cameras rolling, you know, do what you do, or something of that nature, and I say, make us believers. And right after I say make us believers, there's a faint hey, like a whisper. You'll hear it more on the second and third floor. You couldn't hear it in the basement. You could hear it faint on this floor. So, which proves it came more from the second or third floor, which was really cool, I think. But definitely the knocks when nobody was in the hospital, there was a loud whistle. And like I said, it was really windy. So I don't know if that could have been it, but this is the only time it happened. So I documented it because, you know, who knows. I threw in a little clip there at the beginning of this to when we first got there because we were so excited and stuff. I wanted to throw that in there, but there was some things that we were able to debunk, you know, and I always try to go into it, you know, wanting to debunk first. You know, I want to be able to explain it first. If I can't explain it, if I can't prove it wrong, then, you know, the chances of it being paranormal are better. So there was some wind chimes that I know Keith and I had listened to and heard, like in the basement and on the first floor, which I was later able to debunk that later. You know, there was weird chimes and stuff, but it ended up being wind chimes. When I panned around coming up from the basement and was going up the stairs and was pointing towards the gift shop on the first floor, it looked like a figure standing there, like a dark shadowy figure. But as I went through it and kept going back through it, I kind of debunked that. You know, it was kind of just a shadow from the chair that was sitting there, but it was moving so fast. So I tried to really be careful and debunk what I could before I was ready to call it paranormal. But some of the stuff that happened that you just can't deny. But the first floor, I regret not doing more down there. But we got some pretty cool stuff. So here's the videos.
This is the old hospital on College Hill.
Cameras are reloaded. Go at it. Make us believers. Cameras are reloaded. Go at it. Make us believers.
All right, first off, I want to apologize if you hear any background noise. I got a neighbor cutting the grass and trying to beat the storm that's about ready to come through, and the wind's picking up and stuff. So I'm just going to try to get through this. The second floor, though, man, the famous second floor. Man, this one wore me out. It took a minute. You know, I was definitely glad when I got through all the footage because it seemed like I was stopping and writing something down every minute. But there was a lot going on. You know, the famous second floor of Destination Fear. You know, the whole malevolent thing with the obelisk and stuff. So there's a lot of not a lot of known history on the second floor, but it never seems to disappoint. It always seems to be one of the most active. So. Just a note, because the time and dates on these clips and the rest of the clips from here on out are good. They're accurate. And we left the hospital at 8:40, and we came back around 10:30, and we left again around 10:52 and came back around midnight. So those times in between, if there's noise and you say, oh, there's the time, and it was 9 o'clock, there was nobody in the hospital. You know, those were the times. And the majority of the clips, there was nobody in the hospital, and if we were in the hospital, there was really nobody around. We were on a different floor or whatever. But the second floor, that's where the gear room was, of course, and it was cold that night and windy. So some of these clips, you'll hear the wind and stuff too. You know, just like the rest of the floors. I mean, it made it tough. But on the second floor in particular, you know, that's where the gear room was, and it was cold, and we had the heater going, so you're going to hear that. The heater was going in the background, that window unit, and a lot of the clips and the taps and stuff that were going on that were caught, I could probably kind of explain away because it was the thermostat on the heater. And Charlie, Tanya, if you want to clarify that, because at the time I wasn't really paying attention to it, but going back through the footage, I'm just like, man, that's probably the thermostat clicking or tapping or something. So I went ahead and documented it, but some of them might be able to be explained away. So, but there was a lot more that went on than just a little thermostat clips and taps. There was, you know, the beeps, knocks, camera bumps. There was one clip had a dog bark 3 times. That damn dog, it barked all night. But you'll hear the dog bark 3 times, and then you'll hear a whisper say, "Hey," and then again it's another "Hey." We did a ghost box session. Now, what the ghost box is, it's kind of like an alternative to the Ovilus. But with this, it scans through the alphabet. So it reads EMF, temperature, and touch. So an entity has, you know, 3 different things that it can manipulate this device by doing, you know, and all the ones that we got were caused by EMF. But it scans through the alphabet. So if you have a spirit actually spell a word out, I think that's a hell of a lot better than the Ovilus, really. But it does letters, it does numbers, and it does. I'll just show you real quick what it is. And it's called the Ghost Box, and it scans through the alphabet, and you know, it takes either EMF, temperature, or touch, and then the letter, whatever it stops on, will be displayed. And like I said, it also does yes and no, does numbers, and it even does emojis. And then it has readings of what your temperature is at that moment, or the EMF, you know. And you can even change the intensity of each one by these dials down here. So it's a pretty cool little tool to have, you know. If you can't get your hands on an Ovilus, which they are really hard to come by these days, but anyway, we had a ghost box session where we would ask questions and hopefully get responses with the ghost box. So we had a whistle during the ghost box session. We had on some of the clips we had a couple of breaths, and one clip had a breath then a knock. There was a double tap. Nobody was in the hospital, and it seems like it was on the camera, like something bam bam tapped the camera, and it was very, very deliberate. Nobody was in the hospital. There was a double whistle. Again, you're going to hear the wind blowing, but if I would have heard that type of whistle all night, I wouldn't have documented it. But this is the only time I heard it, so that's why I put it in here. During the ghost box session, Erica says, while you're still here, and you'll hear a bang after that, or some kind of an unexplained noise. We got several letters during that session. They were kind of random, VZK, but you'll hear Erica ask if that's the initials, is your name Vicky, and then you'll hear a knock after that. So, I mean, it was random, but again, all these were caused by EMF. And we really didn't have anything that would cause it to go off. So, unexplained, I guess, maybe. I don't know. We also got the letter, or the number 4. During the session also, there's a clip that has what sounds to me like a little growl. Again, like I was saying about the first floor, when we changed the batteries out at halftime and we were leaving, and I said, make us believers, and you hear that whisper say, hey. It's definitely more defined on the second floor. I definitely think you can hear it on the third floor too, but it's a pretty cool little clip, I think. But we had the K2, the EMF detector. It spiked pretty good during the session. There was a loud knock or a slam, and nobody was in the hospital on one of the clips, and it was substantial. So that was a pretty cool. Can't explain that one. And also, one of the clips, it sounds like to me like organ music playing in the background. I mean, some kind of a music playing, I don't know, but that's the only time I heard it. It's weird, but to me it's kind of sounds like organ playing. There was some other weird unexplained noises on there. Erica had her cell phone, and there's this app that you can download, and it takes pictures, and you could set it to take 10 pictures in 10 minutes, take one every minute, or you can take 50 pictures every second, or however you want to set it up. Well, she had it set it up on the second floor, and you could see it taking pictures. But there's this strange rattle that happened up until it kind of built, and it happened until it took the picture, then it stopped, which was weird. I don't know if they're affiliated with one another, but that's the only time it ever did it, and she took a lot of pictures, so it was weird. Again, there's a lot of clips. So I played, like I did on all the other floors, I played the smaller clips twice in case you miss it the first time around. So the second floor, man, wore me out, but it's, man, it was worth it. You gotta love the second floor. There's something going on the second floor, no doubt about it. But here's the videos.
We'd like for you to talk to us and tell us your story. Tell us why you're still here, how you got here. We'd like for you to talk to us and tell us your story. Tell us why you're still here, how you got here.
Oh, what letter was that?
V. Thank you.
Keep spelling it out. What was that? EMF.
Is that you? You're moving.
I'm not near it though. EMF.
Okay, well, come back down just like what you just did. VZ. VZK.
Keep spelling. That's EMF.
Thank you. We have the letters VZK. Is that your initials? Is your name Vicky? Do you know what floor of the hospital that we're on?
Four
Thank you.
isn't right. That's what floor they're on.
Should we go to the 4th floor?
Cameras are reloaded. Go at it. Make it believe. Cameras are reloaded. Go at it. Make it believe.
You guys all feel free if you have any questions.
All we gotta do is come up and touch this thing.
That go off again?
I don't know if it was. So the third floor. This is Moe's Blackburn's floor. We got quite a bit on this one, almost as much as the second. And this one took quite a while too. What was cool about the third floor is we got a lot more whispers and EVPs, which was awesome. Still a lot of knocks, taps, bumps. There was a flash when nobody was in the hospital for some reason. I don't know what came out of that. But one of personal experiences, Erica, when every time she would walk into the room next to Moses' room, that kind of bigger sized room, her heart would start racing. You know, she would get that same feeling every time. She didn't ever to get that feeling in any other part of the hospital except for that one room. And when she stepped out of it, she was fine. When she stepped back in, it would happen again. So that was pretty weird. The IR light went out for some reason on this floor, and usually it just, I don't know, they usually just fade out, but I think it was this time on this floor it just went out. But you can kind of still hear the heater on the third floor from the second floor, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, that flash in one of the clips, you know, nobody was in the hospital. There was a loud knock, very substantial knock. Nobody was in the hospital. When we first were setting up the cameras, there was a loud "hey" come through, and then because we were walking up and down the stairs setting up, and it was like "hey," and then a few seconds later, it was almost like a long drawn out whisper that would just kind of wake up. I couldn't really understand, but what it sounds like to me, it was wake up, hey, and wake up. And then of course that same one, Make Us Believers, that same clip from the first and second floor, you can hear it good. You can hear that hey real good on this floor too. So that's really cool. Sometimes you can hear us talking in the background, and there's a clip where you could hear either a breath or a whisper. There's that's not the only time. There's more whispering again. When we were walking downstairs, Mark and I were talking, and you hear something say "who," like that. There's whistles. You can hear that whistle from the first floor that I explained. That could be the wind, but you could hear it. I mean, it was that loud. You could hear her up there too. We split up towards the end of the night and went in twos. Keith and Michaela, I believe they went down to the first floor in the basement. We stayed on the second floor for a little while, and then Keith and Michaela came back up, and we went down to the basement. And Mark and Sarah went up to the third floor. Well, as they were on the third floor, I got the clip, they heard bump, and you could hear a bump coming from up above on the fourth floor. And Mark, you can hear him talk, and he thinks that we went up to the fourth floor, but we didn't. There was nobody on the fourth floor. For some reason, Mark had a camera, and he took a little bit of footage here and there. And a couple of times there was static that come through unexplained twice, and it had never done that before, so I didn't really know what to think of that. There's a couple of debunking videos that I threw in there when I kind of debunked the wind chime thing, and when at one point when we were up there setting up, or I was changing a battery or something, Mark and Sarah came around the corner, so they heard something back there, so I went around and found out that there was a window. I don't know how, it must have fell down a little bit or whatever, but those loose blinds that were up there were just rattling like crazy. So when I closed the window, and it was fine, so I was able to debunk that. But during that video, right before they come around, there's a whistle, and I don't know where that came from. Another EVP that we didn't hear at the time. None of these we heard at the time. We just keep on going and talking and like we never heard it. But going back and reviewing the video, I heard it. So we were talking, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but Erica says Gen X generation, talking about we're all the kind of the same age, part of that generation. And you hear what sounds like a little kid whining in the background, like a little kid didn't get its way or something. We had a spirit box session up there, and Erica was blindfolded again and had headphones on, could only hear what was coming through the spirit box. I was asking questions, and I asked about Mose, if he jumped or was he pushed or what. Well, you could tell it spooked her too, because she took the headphones off in the middle of the session, and she said, that's the clearest that it's ever came through there. She heard didn't jump, so that was pretty cool. We were up there later on during the night. Everybody else pooped out, and Eric and I decided to stay for a little while, so we were the only ones in the hospital. And we went back up to the room where her heart was always fluttering, and we did a ghost box session. And we were asking it to make the letter B come up. Well, what was funny, it went off several times, all EMF detection, and just about every other letter you can think of that rhymed with B came up. I think C, G, E, Z, I think all came up, maybe even V, but I mean it was weird, everything but B. So I don't know, maybe they misunderstood, but they were trying, it seems like. One time I tell Mark to record away. He was talking about, the battery life or whatever, and I was just like, we got plenty of batteries, record away. And then after that, there was like an unexplained noise. I can't really describe what it was. But then Tanya, when you were given the tour and we were up on the 3rd floor, was cool because you were talking about the claims of like little kids giggling and stuff like that. You were talking about little kids, and you say different aspects of that, and then you kind of hear a kid in the background say, "What's my name?" or something like that. That's kind of what it sounds to me, but there's definitely a little kid or a little girl or something saying something, and to me it sounds like, "What's my name?" So the 3rd floor definitely didn't disappoint. It was every bit as good as the 2nd. What was cool about that, we got even more EVPs than we did anywhere else in the hospital. So that's awesome, because we're fairly new to this, and to get EVPs like we did, I couldn't be happier with it. But the 3rd floor was awesome, and so here's the videos.
Yeah.
Bobby hates
I've
orbs.
seen 3 of them, and I haven't seen another one since.
Bobby hates orbs because he thinks they're dust.
Oh, there it went. You see it?
I seen a bunch of dust when I was in that place down there with the ashes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's bad dust. That's a, yeah, that's a, what you do with your fingers.
Yeah.
Bobby hates orbs.
I've seen 3 of them, and I haven't seen another one since.
Bobby hates orbs because he thinks they're dust.
Oh, there it went. You see it?
I seen a bunch of dust when I was in that place down there with the ashes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's bad dust. That's a, yeah, that's a, what you do with your fingers.
Cameras are reloaded. Go at it. Cameras are reloaded. Go at it.
What? What are you doing, baby?
Didn't hear that.
No. The thump?
Yeah.
It's probably them.
There's nobody up there.
Baby, we're on 3. They went to 4.
Who did?
Bobby and them did. What's this? This is one of the little incubator things, right?
That's why they took the baby when they first born.
See the branches growing through the window? Poison ivy.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely coming from outside.
The wind time?
Yeah.
I heard them up there. Just now when I think.
What's going on? Huh? Where? Window was open.
We all know the song. We're the same generation. We're the Gen X generation.
I wonder how that window got open. I mean, it probably just fell down, but somebody had a bad day. I know.
We all know the song. We're the same generation. We're the Gen X generation.
I wonder how that window got open. I mean, it probably just fell down, but somebody had a bad day. I know.
We're just watching through it and anything.
We got plenty of battery. If you want to record away.
We're just watching through it and anything.
We got plenty of battery. If you want to record away. Erica's got a spirit box. She can't hear me saying anything. Speak through that spirit box and she'll relay the message to me. Mose, are you on this floor? Is anybody on this floor that would like to communicate with us? Mose, did you jump out the window or were you thrown out?
Hi.
Hi. Can you tell me who's talking with us tonight? What's your name? Is this Mose? Are you male or female? Were you a patient here? You can feel free to go up and touch Eric if you like.
One.
What's one mean? One time? Should we go to the first floor? How old are you? You can feel free to communicate with us. We don't mean you any harm. Shouldn't be afraid. We just want to speak with you. Are we in danger? Do you want us to leave?
They just said didn't jump. Didn't jump.
Didn't jump?
Plain as day.
Really?
Didn't jump.
Wow.
Did that record that? Nothing as plain.
Are you done?
That's a lot, yeah.
Okay.
That kind of scared me.
Well, thank you. Mose, at least we know it's you.
This is the third floor here, the longer version of the third floor.
Mhm.
This was your maternity and OBGYN, so this
Okay.
is where a lot of the babies were born, this is where a lot of children passed away. So some of the things you may pick up are children's voices, children's feet running, children giggling, we hear that from time to time. So just different aspects with that. Other than Moses Wing, it was just mostly maternity and OBGYN. This is the third floor here, the longer version of the third floor.
Mhm.
This was your maternity and OBGYN, so this
Okay.
is where a lot of the babies were born, this is where a lot of children passed away. So some of the things you may pick up are children's voices, children's feet running, children giggling, we hear that from time to time. So just different aspects with that. Other than Moses Wing, it was just mostly maternity and OBGYN.
Not G, B. As in boy. Yeah. It sounds a lot like B, but it's not. B for boy, for Bobby. Balloon.
Can you light up the letter B? Thank you. Letter E.
Mose, are you here? They all rhyme with B. What word was that? V. Are you playing a rhyming game with us? Every one of them rhyme with B.
All right, the fourth floor. First off, I want to make a correction. I know I said on the intro video for the third floor that the light instantly goes out. Well, that light actually dimmed out. I know some of the clips were dark, but that light just kind of dimmed out. This light on the fourth floor was the light that's just all of a sudden it just instantly goes out, like boom. I mean, they normally don't do that. I don't know if it's paranormal or anything. Maybe not, but I mean, it just boom, it just goes dark all of a sudden. Now there are a little bit of light still there on some of the clips because the camera has its own internal IR light, but it's really not that good. So you always use an external IR light with it, and it makes it's a lot better. You can hardly do it with just the internal one by itself. But the fourth floor, man, and I am kicking myself so bad for not checking the microphone, the audio a little bit better when we set it up and when I changed the batteries out, because the microphone, the decibels, they must have been turned up way too high. Because when I went back and reviewed the footage, I mean, the white noise, the background noise was just crazy loud, and I apologize. I mean, that's what you live and learn. I'm new at this, and I messed up for sure, and I'm kicking myself for it because the fourth floor, it seems like each floor has its own personality, you know, as I went through this thing. You know, the second floor was like, I mean, it was just a variety. It was a jack of all trades. You know, the third floor was where we got the majority of our EVPs and whispers and stuff. And the fourth floor was definitely all about the beeping and knocks. I mean, the knocks, I mean, they weren't just knocks, they were slams and bangs. And a lot of the times nobody was in the hospital. You know, and come to think about it, you know, even on the knocks that you heard on the second and third floor were probably coming from the fourth. I mean, they were crazy loud. And the audio, I went back and I had to try to fix it a little bit, the best I could. I'm not a professional. But I definitely got rid of a lot of that background noise and a lot of that white noise. And it's still there, but it's definitely not even close to being like the original audio is. But in doing that, I took away a little bit from the evidence. You know, the knocks aren't, you know, you don't get as much oomph as you do listen to the original. The original, I'm just like, wow. You know, I almost jumped back because it's so loud. But you can still tell it's loud, but it's the gusto in there because I had, you know, taken away that background noise and that white noise. It took away a little bit of the gusto of the knocks too. But like I said, they weren't just knocks. They were slams, bangs, and the beeping. There was a lot of beeping, and that just goes to show with the Dakota on Destination Fear episode that, you know, he heard the medical equipment as he's walking up the stairs, you know, the beeping and stuff. And there's definitely beeping. For the beeping, you definitely want to probably use headphones. It's there, but you're going to hear it a lot better with headphones. But of course, you know, me taking away that, I'm kicking myself for the audio, not checking the mic, but taking away some of that background noise took away from some of that. It's still there, but use headphones. And I went back and forth with myself thinking, well, maybe I should throw in a clip or two of the original audio so that they get the real gist of how loud and sturdy those slams were. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want you to hear a clip that I had corrected the audio in, and then all of a sudden the next clip was just blast you out. So with that being said, there was a lot of knocking and a lot of beeping. You couldn't hear that clip with the whisper because of the where I say make us believers, which kind of proves it comes from more from the third or the second floor anyway. But I mean, I had to throw it out because you can't really hear it anyway because of the audio. The audio was too bad. You know, there was a couple of things I had to throw out because of it, which sucks. But you live and you learn. You know, I don't plan to be a professional, or I'm not claiming to be a professional, but you know, we're going to get better at this. You know, this is definitely just the start of our ghost hunting career. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, I'll have updated camera equipment, you know, better stuff, better mics next time around. So hopefully this won't happen again. But we had a ghost box session up there on the 4th floor also. And there was the letters AW came across. You know, we got a couple hits with the EMF. And she asked if there was initials and stuff. Well, Sarah was holding her K2, her EMF detector, man, and it just starts going crazy. It starts going wild, which is cool. And as we were finishing up, because that was kind of the last floor that we were on when we were taking the cameras down and going back down the gear room and leaving for the night. There was a couple little knocks when I was going around with my full spectrum camera there at the end too. But like I said, I'm kicking myself for the audio, but like I said, it's still there. And it's crazy because each floor definitely did seem like it had its own thing going. You know, like I said, the second floor was a jack of all trades. I wish I would have paid closer attention to the first floor, did more stuff down there, but all the EVPs and whispers were like the third floor, and the 4th floor is knocks and bangs, man, for sure. But with that being said, here's the videos.
All right. Well, that was the end of the videos. That was the end of the floor. That was the end of the whole. That's what we caught at Old
Yes.
Hospital.
We made it through Old Hospital. It's definitely on our bucket list to head back to.
Absolutely.
If you're thinking about going, just do it.
Yeah, Tanya and Charlie are awesome. I mean, they're great hosts. Stay at the Conley House. It's right there. Just a walk up some steps to it. Which those steps are kind of crazy, wobbly, but you get through it though. But yeah, it's the whole experience is great. The way you guys got the Conley House, and they also have another house, the cottage, that I don't know if probably getting ready to get it going too. So you got two options there to stay. If you're doing an overnight investigation, you got lodging there now. So it's a great place. So Project Fear's already been there again, you know, aka Destination Fear. They've been there twice. So
We're big fans of the show. If you can't tell, we are big fans.
So I mean, if you know about Destination Fear or Project Fear, they've been there twice already. So I mean, if you're wanting to go. I mean, it's a great location, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But thank you again,
Yes, thank you.
guys. Tanya, Charlie, you're great, and we'll be talking to you again.